Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our online session. Today, we shall be doing the last block of the course ENM 6112 titled British Prose. So, in this block, we shall study on Bertrand Russell, a major prose writer and thinker. The purpose of this block is to understand Russell not only as a philosopher but also a clear and powerful writer of English prose. So, before that, let's move on to the lecture contents. So as you can see here, first we shall look into the recap of the previous block, and then today's focus areas. After that, learning goals, and then in-depth discussions of units 16 to 20, then assignment questions. And finally, we shall conclude the lecture. So here. As I already said, let's look into the recap of previous lectures. Because before beginning the discussion on Bertrand Russell's, that is Unit 4, so it's good to focus on what we have discussed in the earlier lectures. So it will help you clearly see the difference in the prose style and the purpose between Gardiner and Russell. So both of whom are significant British prose writers. So in the previous lecture we have completed 5 units of in block 3, that is on A.G. Gardiner. So here we have seen about and unit 11 about how Gardiner discusses about the importance of politeness and good manners in everyday life, and again in unit 12 how he presents a courage as a moral quality rather than physical bravery, and in on 13 how Gardiner reflects gentle and humor in a humorous style, using a dog as a central subject. He highlights human emotions such as sympathy, kindness, and affections. Right. So in unit 14, like on catching the train, he deals with the stress and impatience of modern life. So Gardiner uses humor to criticize the unnecessary hurry and tension people experience daily. And in unit 15, the vanity of old age. So in here, Gardner examines human weakness with sympathy, like instead of mocking old age. Gardner generally points out how people continue to seek attention and importance even in their later life. So this recap helps us understand that Gardner's essays are informal, personal, and reflective. So he focuses on everyday experiences in human behavior, often using humor and warmth. So when we move to the next block 4, that is on Bertrand Russell, we'll notice clear shift change, right? Russell's prose is more argumentative, logical, and philosophical, while Gardiner appeals to emotions and common experience. So Russell appeals to reasons and critical thinking. So these contrast prepares us to appreciate the seriousness and intellectual depth of Russell's essays. So as we said, as for today's discussion, today's focus, that is on block 4 of Bertrand Russell's. So unlike previous block that is on A.G. Gardiner, so which dealt with light and reflective essays. So this block on Bertrand Russell presents serious argumentative prose that addresses philosophy, reason, and human responsibility. So again, the block consists of 5 prescribed units, unit 16 to 20. So each unit, represents one essay by Russell, and each of these deals with a specific aspect of his thought. Together, these essays shows Russell as a thinker who combines logic with deep concerns, for humanity. Okay, so we shall discuss each of these, units, essays one by one in the later, like in later. So before that, let's move on to the learning goals, objectives, and outcomes. So as you can see here, the first objective is to understand Bertrand Russell as both as a prose writer and a philosopher. This means that you should not be reading this as his essays not only for philosophical ideas, uh, but also pay attention to how he writes. So Russell is known for clarity, precision, and logical structure, and these qualities makes his prose effective and influential. And the second objective is to identify Russell's rational and scientific and humanist outlook. So here, Russell strongly believed that reason in reason and scientific thinking. He opposed superstitions, belief, blind faith, and irrational beliefs. At the same time, he was a humanist who cared deeply about human suffering, peace, and happiness. So dear students, you're expected to recognize this balance, harmony between intellect and humanity in his essays. So the third objective is to analyze argumentative prose using clarity and logic. So Russell's essays are argumentative, as I already said, in nature. He presents a clear position, supports it with reasoning, and criticizes opposing views, opinions, right? So through studying his essays, you can learn how arguments are constructed, how logic strengthens prose writings. So the final objective is to relate Russell's ideas to modern social and ethical issues. Even though Russell wrote in the early 20th century, his ideas about war, misinformation, misuse of science, and blind belief are still relevant even today. So you should be able to connect, his ideas with present day concerns. So these objectives, shows that the block aims to develop critical thinking, the clarity of expressions, and also ethical awareness, not just factual knowledge of diseases. Now, what about the expected outcomes? So, as you can see here, the first expected outcome is that you should be able to explain the major themes in Russell's essays in simple terms, right? Russell deals with complex ideas such as philosophy, rational, thinking, and human responsibility, but he expresses them clearly. So that's why you should be able to understand these ideas well enough to explain them in your own words, or like especially in your exams. Okay, so the second outcome is the ability to critically evaluate superstitions, dogma, and irrational beliefs. And the third outcome is to appreciate connection between philosophy and everyday life. And the last outcome is the you should be able to write in a form, structured, master notes or something like that, using examples, from the prescribed, essays from the text. So overall, this outcome, shows the aim of this, of this block on, this measure. Sorry, Bertrand Russell's is all about intellectual development. Okay. So now let's move on to the first unit of this block, that is unit 16, the philosophy of layman. So in philosophy of layman, Bertrand Russell explained what philosophy means for ordinary people. See, he argues that philosophy should not remain confined to like universities, scholars, or researchers. Okay, so it should help like common people, ordinary people, think clearly about life, beliefs, and social issues. So Russell, criticizes blind tradition and questioned beliefs. Unquestioned beliefs. So many people accept because they are separated from religion, society, or authority. So Russell believes this habit is dangerous because it prevents independent thinking. According to him, people should not believe something just because it has been believed for a long time. So this essay's philosophy of alignment strongly emphasizes a clear thinking and logical inquiry. Russell encourages readers of to ask questions, examine reasons, and demand evidence before accepting any belief. So logical thinking here is protects people from superstitions and emotional manipulations. Okay, so Russell also, promotes common sense over inherited dogma. By common sense, he does not mean popular opinion, but rational judgment based on facts and reasoning. He believes that philosophy trains the mind to distinguish between what is reasonable and what is merely traditional. Another important idea in this essay is that philosophy acts as a practical guide to life. It helps individuals make thoughtful decisions, avoid prejudice, and develop intellectual freedom. So philosophy for Russell, it's not about finding like final answers, but about learning how to think properly. So this essay shows Russell's commitment to education and rationality. His lucid language, like simple language, and very clear arguments make philosophy accessible to all learners, readers. So philosophy of the layman, uh, you represents Russell's belief that thinking clearly is a responsibility of every human being, not just philosophers. So this is all about Unit 16, philosophy of the layman. Now let's move on to Unit 17, the future of mankind. So here in future of mankind, Bertrand Russell expresses serious concern about future of humanity. So he wrote these essays during a period marked by wars. Uh, just a minute. So he wrote these essays during a period marked by wars, political conflicts, rapid scientific development. So Russell fears that human intelligence is being used more in destructions than for progress. Okay, Momita, I have already started recording, so it's okay. Now I'm doing unit 17 of Block-4 Bertrand Russell. So I just focus it. Pay attention to the class. Okay. Can you see the slide, Momita? Momita, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. So one of the main one of the main dangers Russell's discusses is about war, especially modern warfare supported by advanced science. So he argues that wars are no longer limited in damage and can threaten the existence of mankind itself. Along with war, Russell strongly criticizes extreme nationalism, which encourages hatred and division among nations. So here in this essay, Russell also warns us against the misuse of science. Science, according to him, is not harmful by nature, but it is guided by greed, power, or political ambitions. So it becomes dangerous. He believes that scientists and intellectuals have a moral responsibility to think about the consequences of their work. So a key solution suggested in this essay by or Russell is about global corporations and rational planning. So Russell argues that humanity must think beyond national boundaries and work together for survival. Education, region, international understanding are presented as essential tools for peace. So, despite its serious tone, this essay is not pessimistic because Russell expresses hope through reason and education. He believes that if people are trained to think rationally and ethically, humanity can avoid self-destructions. So, this essay presents Russell as a humanist thinker, deeply concerned with the future of the world and the responsibility of mankind. So this is all about the future of mankind by Russell. So now let's move on to Unit 19. That is on intellectual. Sorry, where is it? An outline of intellectual rubbish. So in here, in this essays, like Russell exposes or launches, a strong attack on false beliefs that people accept without thinking. He calls these beliefs as intellectual rubbish. Why? Because they block clear reasoning and mislead society. So this essay focuses on how superstition meets propaganda, pseudoscience continue to survive even in modern and educated societies. So Russell explains that many people believe false ideas not because they are true, but because they are repeated by authority figures, traditions, or popular opinion. So he strongly criticizes this critical acceptance of authority. So according to him, authority should never replace evidence and reasoning. A belief must be questioned, tested, and supported by facts. Another major concern in this essay is propaganda, right? As you can see here in the slide, Russell shows how political and social propaganda manipulates emotions and spreads false ideas to control people. He warns the readers that propaganda becomes powerful when people stop thinking independently. So Russell places a great importance on evidence-based thinking. He argues that beliefs should be accepted only when supported by observations, logic, and proof or evidence. So emotional appeal, religious traditions, or social pressure should never be treated as proof or truth. So this essay is extremely relevant, even in the modern age of where misinformation spreads rapidly through media and social platforms. So Russell ideas encourages readers to develop intellectual discipline, skepticism, and responsibility in thinking. So and an outline of this essay and our outline of intellectual rebels teaches us how to protect our minds from falsehood and become rational, independent thinkers. Okay, so this is all about unit 18 and in an outline of intellectual rebels. Next, we move on to the problem of philosophy. Where is it? Got it? Where is it? Okay. Here in this essays, Russell explains what philosophy actually tries to do. Many people expect philosophy to give final and definite answers to all questions. No, that's not like that. So Russell challenges this expectation and clarifies the role of philosophy. So Russell, begins by explaining the differences between knowledge and belief. So knowledge is based on evidence and certainty, while belief may exist without complete evidence or proof. So philosophy, according to Russell, helps us understand the limits of our knowledge. It teaches us that human certainty is often limited, and that many questions do not have absolute answers. No, it doesn't have like final answers. So a central idea in this essay is the importance of doubt. Uh, Russell argues that doubt is not a weakness but a strength. When people doubt, they question assumptions, examine ideas carefully. So this process leads to intellectual growth and deep understanding. Without doubt, the mind becomes rigid and closed. So Russell's also explained that philosophy does not aim to provide solutions or answers. Instead, it helps in clarifying concepts, sharpening your thinking. So our philosophy trains the mind to think logically, analyze arguments, and recognize false reasoning. Okay, so this essays uh, presents philosophy as an exercise in clarity rather than conclusion. Even when philosophy cannot give definite answers, it expands the mind and encourages open mindedness. So Russell believes that this mental discipline is valuable in all areas of life, not just academic study. So through these essays, Russell teaches us intellectual humility. He shows that accepting uncertainty is a part of honest thinking. So the problem of philosophy, this essays helps learners appreciate philosophy as a tool for clarity, rational inquiry, and thoughtful reflections. Okay, so this is all about this essay, the problem of philosophy. Then the last unit is on my three passions. So let's look into it. So here you can see in my three passions, Bertrand Russell writes a deeply personal essay in which he reflects on the process that shaped his life. So unlike the earlier essays in this blog, which are mainly argumentative and philosophical, this essay is emotional, reflective, and human in tone. So it helps readers understand the values that guided Russell as a thinker and as a person. So Russell identifies three passions that ruled his life. The first is love. So he describes love as a source of instant joys and meaning. So love, according to Russell, you know, helps human beings escape loneliness and gives life emotional richness. Without love, life becomes empty and mechanical. The second passion is the search for knowledge. Russell explains that his desire to understand the world pushed him towards philosophy, science, and intellectual inquiry. So knowledge for him is not merely academic like achievement, like you're studying right now and doing MA and you'll be getting degree. That is not enough for him. Okay, it's not, that is only academic achievement. So you did your BA, MA, and then PhD also. These are all academic achievement. But he has a deep curiosity about truth, reality, and human existence. Okay, so the third passion is compassion for human suffering. So Russell was deeply disturbed by pain, uh, uh, injustice, okay, and like war and poverty. So these compassions, motivated his, social criticism and his strong oppositions to war and violence. He could not ignore suffering and, felt morally, responsible to speak against it. Okay, so a key idea in this essay is the balance, the harmony between intellectual and emotions. So Russell shows that a meaningful life requires both rational thinking and emotional sensitivity. Sensitivity. Okay, so this essay has a universal appeal because it speaks about values shared by all human beings. So it presents Russell not only as a philosopher, but also a deep, humane individual. So what is this humane? I told you before also, before in the previous lectures of it. Humane here means kind. So let me repeat it again. This presents Russell as a what? As a philosopher, but not only as a philosopher. Sorry, not only as a philosopher, but also as a very deeply kind individual or humane individual. Okay. So this is all about my three passions. I say my three passions. Now, all units are over. Now let's move on to the another point of this, part of this, extended part of this, a blog that is Bertrand Russell as a prose writer. Okay, so here in this slide, this you can see that in the title, the Bertrand Russell as a prose writer. So let's look into that. So the importance, Russell, the importance of Bertrand Russell as a prose writer. So not just as a philosopher. So Russell's prose style is one of the main reasons his essays are included. Why in your MS syllabus, in English syllabus? I have already discussed five essays, right? All are like very much influential, right? So he believed that good writing should communicate ideas clearly, honestly, and logically. For him, clarity was not a decorative feature, but a moral responsibility. One of the most striking features of Russell's prose is its clarity and directness. Right? He avoids long and complex sentences and unnecessary technical terms. Okay, even when he discusses complex philosophical ideas, he uses very simple language so that educated readers without The philosophical training can easily understanding. So this makes his prose accessible and effective to all of us. So and Russell writing is also logical, okay, and argumentative. His essays follows a very clear structure. He presents a problem, explain different views, and then argues for his own, position using, reason and evidence. So his arguments are carefully developed, and he avoids emotional exaggerations. So another important features of Russell's prose is its social and ethical commitment. So he does not write, only to display knowledge. His essays are written with a purpose to fight superstitions, challenge blind belief, and oppose war, and promote rational thinking. So his prose reflects, a strong sense of responsibility toward society. Russell, so also successfully, blends like philosophy, science, and ethics. He shows that these fields or areas are connected and should guide human behavior. So his writing encourages readers to think independently and critically. So because of these qualities, Russell is regarded as one of the finest pro stylists of the modern age. So his essays are models of clear thinking, honest arguments, and responsible writing. Okay, so this is all about the importance of Bertrand Russell as a prose writer. So now we move on to assignment questions, as I always give you, in the previous lectures. So this questions is given to you just to see how much you understand about this lecture, right? How much you have understood these lectures, these blogs itself. So try to write or try to attempt this question, and then try to show me. Okay. Otherwise, how will I know that you have understood the lectures? All right. All are encouraged to attempt these questions and show it to me either by you send me either through email or WhatsApp. Okay. This is all about. Here I have given you three questions. One is on Bertrand Russell's views on rational thinking with reference to an outline of intellectual rubbish, and the other question is how Russell present philosophy as relevant to ordinary life and philosophy of the layman. And the last question is the humanistic vision expressed in my three passions. Okay, now let's move on to the conclusion. So, uh, this Block-4 introduced, though it is a final block of the of this paper, the British prose, but this block actually introduced Bertrand Russell as a major thinker and prose stylist. Okay, so as because you can see the last, as we have already discussed, his essay reflect a deep commitment to vision, clarity, and human values, right? So he also constantly challenges superstition, blind belief, and irrational thinking. Right? He encourages like the readers like us to question authority, examine evidence, and think independently. Okay, so his prose shows that clear thinking is essential not only for intellectual growth but also for social responsibility. So, and Russell also reveals his concern for humanity and future of the world. Right? His opposition to war, nationalism, and misuse of science shows that he viewed intellectuals as morally responsible, members of society. At the same time, this is like in the last essays, right? My three passions. So his emotional depth and compassion, for human suffering. So finally, this block, Source helps us understand that prose writing is not merely about style, but about ideas, values, and purpose. Okay, so that's why Russell's clear and logical prose, serves as a model for what good writing and also responsible thinking. So with this lecture, you know, block 4 of ENM 6112 is completed, and also the course, uh, ENM 122 titled what British Prose is completed official. Okay, so now if you have any questions, if you want to ask any question, doubts, or if you want to say something, you may say it. You're free to say it now. Momita,
Yes.
are you, are you still there?
Yes.
You may say something.
No, sir.
Okay, then with this we conclude today's lectures, right? And I wish you best of luck for your upcoming exam and prepare well. If you have any
Itu
doubts,
barang.
please feel free to ask me, right? Or you may email me or text me or call me whenever you feel like you need help or something. Okay. Okay then. Thank you so much. See you in the next class.